Hello everyone, welcome back to the stream. I had to fix my camera yet again, now I'm all stretched out. But other than that, we'll just see if I can try to fix it a bit more. That looks a bit more normal, I think. Yeah, that looks more normal, cool. Hello everyone, welcome back to the stream. Thank you all for joining. Hope you have a good rest of your day, and finally, we got this move to the downside. That we've been waiting for, right? We were stuck between the point of control and our fib levels, and right, this was the fib level that I was really looking for. Close above. I think we're gonna continue the upside. We could have major upside, close below, major downside, and that is what's playing out so far on the macro time frames. And my target has been, unless we get it back up at this level, and especially if we close below this point of control and lose this point of control, my target will be the value area low, which is 19,626 right now on coin margin. So just looking at smaller term time frames, right? Because we don't have too much to say about macro term time frames because our move is just playing out in real time, which is great. Small time frames. We do have a potential swing failure pattern on the 4-hour time frame. I wouldn't consider this to be too strong of a swing failure pattern. You might get a big move up to something to the 618, but this range hasn't been developed enough on this time frame for a swing failure pattern to indicate that we're going to have a major upside potential. Also of note, let's just take, I know on the other exchange I was looking at this morning, maybe not actually. Yeah, I think on another exchange volume profile I was using, it was heavily skewed to the upside. Yeah, the point control was heavily skewed to the upside for the value area was heavily skewed to the value area high, meaning that we're more likely to break down out of this range. Now, what I mean break down out of this range just mean actually go below the range lows. So we have done that. So that has been validated. And this range for me has now been essentially invalidated. So let's just now look at short-term time frames. If we are going to have a move up, recover this liquidity where we expect it to, obviously this big fair value gap right here between $21,000 and $20,890 roughly is where I would look for this gap to fill. We also had these fib levels in from the move yesterday. We'll just get rid of these. Make it a bit clearer, right? So this was our first TP of this short from the swing failure pattern up above. Now the second take profit was this going to be the actual range lows, which has all been validated. So now we're just going to wait and see what happens next. If I wouldn't say we're going to get above this fair value gap unless we close a 30-minute candle above this previous range low right here, which is at 20,751. If we do close above this on the 30-minute candles, then I think we are going to see a likely move into this region, and then we could take it from there, see if we get a rejection from there. Hey, Grogu got into it early and got hunted before the drop. All's on cool. Yeah. That drop was, I think it was news driven, right? Because Jerome Powell was speaking, so it was pretty spontaneous. We had a lot of good volatility this morning. Hopefully, you guys can caught some nice longs off of that. I think we rejected off of. No, it was actually just the previous high on different exchange. This wick was a lot different on some other exchanges, which is interesting. But yeah, it came up to their current swing for veteran highs and just dumped right down. So it was pretty crazy morning, to say the least. But yeah, filling this fair value gap if we close above this on the 30-minute time frame is to be expected. And then after that, I would expect a continuation to the downside. That is about it for Bitcoin, honestly. I think we're just going to possibly fill that fair value gap and continue to the downside. Obviously, if we go above that fair value gap, you also have this point of control here, which you would retest at 21,200 roughly. But I don't see any drives of anything. Yeah, I didn't see many drives of things. I actually do have drives of bullish divergence. But I wouldn't put too much weight on it. unless we start to really, unless we start to close above this fair value gap. I think this is just taking profits on some shorts. Yeah, it's not looking too good. Let's look at Ethereum versus Bitcoin, and we'll look at Ethereum itself. Ethereum versus Bitcoin. Daily term time frame just to see. So I was looking if we were close above the 76 Fibonacci level, we were good continuation to upside. I think we were retesting this support and resistance zone yesterday, right? We pumped back into the last big move up. So we did not really change market structure too much until we blast below this line right here. Are there any drives of anything? No, not particularly. You can kind of argue that this hidden bear share, but not too much. So, Ethereum Bitcoin itself is still, I would consider this to be range bound for now. So we could just take this to be our little mini range. We can even look on the 1 hour time frame just to get a good look at it. Closer look at it. And it's just coming down to its valley area lows right here. So we might get a nice bounce on Ethereum itself. And let's just see if that is occurring right now. But there's not much to speak about on the Ethereum Bitcoin. It is just still range bound, and macro targets from yesterday that we talked about still hold. Okay, so for Ethereum, we were still looking for it to fill this fair value gap, then possibly get a bounce or continue to the downside, depending on if we close below 1496 on the 4 hour term time frame, or if we don't. If we close above it, I still think we can have potential to go to 1785. But for now, we are heading finally down to fill this fair value gap. Targets still remain down here. Small term time frames. Unless there are drives, you kind of have slight bullish evidence here. But yeah, it's not looking the best. I think you would retest this previous high before anything else. But yeah, Ethereum itself not looking too pretty. Not looking too pretty. I think still you come down to the fair value gap. What invalidates that idea is, I would say, one, closing above this line at 1617, and then you would have to even get above this huge wick here at 1705, but we're not even close to that. Am I missing anything on the daily term time frame? Yeah, no, we're still pretty solid on the daily time frame. Still haven't broken the slow or anything like that. So yeah, I still expect us to come fill this fair value gap. Right now, if you guys in the stream or want me to look at some coins, just throw them in the chat. But because the chat's late and everything, I'll just look at the SPX for now. But put them in the chat what you want me to look at, what you guys have been looking at. I've really just been looking at Ethereum, just Bitcoin today. So for SPX, what are we looking at here? We just saw a retest of this level right here. I said unless we close above it, I think we're just probably going to continue the downside, especially if we break below this gap right here. Extend it out. This gap right here, we broke below this gap. We're going to be retesting this level right here. This doesn't look too good on the 4 hour time frame. You can consider this to be your market structure low right here at 4201. I believe that was actually on smaller term time frames. Yeah, like the 1 hour time frame, or maybe even the 15-minute the other day, which you retested perfectly. But on the 4 hour time frame, you could consider this to right here to be your market structure low at 40,079. So technically, you still have potential to have a higher probability of breaking to the upside. However, this is a fairly strong move down. The way other markets looking, it's not looking too pretty. Mind you, it is also a Friday, so a big move. It is Friday, right? Yeah, a big move like this isn't too unexpected. Either way, right? You're trying to mess up some option expirations and just clean up for the weekend, things, and set up next week, things of that nature. So I wouldn't be too concerned just yet unless you close below this line right here, which would invalidate larger time frames move up. That being said, the 15 minutes, do we have anything? Yeah, no, this is looking pretty nasty. So I think he's going to retest this level, and then we can see if we close it daily below that or not. Okay. Did you guys put anything in the chat? No. Okay, so let's just look at the big movers of the day. I'm sure there are a decent amount. Percent change. Woo apparently had a big move down. Maybe we can get some more data on this. Or is this? Okay, so let's look at Woo. Fairly interesting coin, right? So how would we like to interpret this? This is extremely choppy. But you would invalidate the this slight uptrend with any closure below. I mean, you could even say it more aggressively here. If you want to be more conservative, you could put it here. So any closure, so today we'll invalidate it below 1621. We'll invalidate this daily uptrend we have, this slight daily uptrend we have. And you're more likely to turn to the downside. Now, I think we're probably better off looking at smaller term time frames for this, quite honestly. So, 4-hour market structure would bring this level, you did close above that, cool. We bring this level to right here. You set this low, which allowed you to set this new high. So this closure right here invalidated the uptrend on the 4-hour time frame. The daily looks a little bit too choppy to get exact levels, so we're just gonna leave it at that. So where do we expect it to pull back into? Well, we first expect it to actually come back and possibly retest this level. So I do expect at least at some point, and we'll look for downside targets where we might get a bounce in just a minute, retest of this level. And if we do break above and most notably close above, I would say on the 1-hour time frame, if we close above this level 1951 on the 1-hour time frame, then we're going to be looking for the bullish order block, which in this case is the last move up, last significant move up. And with this coin, I would essentially put it to be right in this area right here, just because you actually thing right there, cool. Just because this is a bit of a choppier coin, so I just want to put it where there does seem to be lots of interest. Oop. And you can just fit it to the last significant move up right there. Cool. So let's just look for where we're actually possibly going to get a bounce. And I just want to zoom out once again. We can take our Fibonacci levels from this big macro range and just see that we're actually at the 705. The 705 right here, we might get a slight bounce off of this. Has been previous daily support and resistance in this zone, so it wouldn't be too coincidental. Just get a slight bounce, come back and retest this level at 15.25 cents. So I think 15.25 cents, you might get a slight bounce. There's not much work to do beneath unless we take a volume profile, and there's a lot of low volume nodes. Yeah, so we're actually at the value area low as well right now. So this is a good confluence, and we might actually get a bounce. So I think we're probably going to bounce soon, and we do have some small term time frames, I believe, bullish divergence forming. Not confirmed just yet until the TDI actually turns back up, but this is a pretty significant divergence. Let's look at what else had to move up for today. So we have Ant. Or move down, sorry. Is anything actually green? Just curious. No, nothing was actually green. So interesting. So let's look at Ant. Ant had this big scam wake up. I think we covered this the other day. Or maybe we did. I don't know. Maybe it was just another coin that has similar. But we could take this as our range. We can see prices have been coiling a lot recently for this coin. And right now we are just at our value area lows. So there is a potential that we might get a good strong bounce here. It's previous daily support and resistance levels. And a drop below this would quickly put it into this just high volume node right here. Bang. Let me just label that. Do I have it? Right, high volume node between $1.46 and $1.52. So dropping below these levels would quickly send it to this high volume node, and then we can get a bounce from there. But this is looking pretty good. Any divergences or anything like that? No, nothing too notable just yet. Small time frames, let's take a look. Maybe 1 hour. We can take our Fibonacci levels from this swing high to this ridiculous swing low to this ridiculous swing high, and we seem to have blasted through all of it actually. And we're just coming back to retest this low. So I think a pretty significant level. You could actually treat this as a market structure break on the 1 hour time frame, right? Closing above this level is would be, I would consider, a market structure break. So we already had that. And where do you expect to pull back into? The last significant move down in this case, which I would take to be right here. And that's actually where we are right now. So this actually might be a good long opportunity. Obviously no financial advice, trade with your own strategy, etc. But this actually does look fairly good for upside continuation. You have good complements. You have the value area low. You broke market structure in 1 hour time frame, pull back where we expect to pull back. And also I think I didn't point this out. I just thought of my head when I was looking on the higher trend time frames that we do have a bit of a heavy skew on the point of control to the downside, right? We have the point of control is skewed towards the value area low, so there is a good potential that we might just come back up to this value area high to kill all those trap sellers. So wonderful on that. Once again, if you're new to the stream or in the stream, just throw what coins you want me to look at in the chat. Because if not, I'm just going to blow through as much as I want. And then people will just watch back later. So let's look at SPF. SPF actually seemed to hold up fairly well in this, which is quite interesting to see. We could treat this as a mini macro range, right? We set this high, we set this low. We will treat this actually as our range lows, right? Because this was merely a swing failure pattern right here. Bang. Just never. Oh, there you go. Cool. Right, you'll treat this as our swing low because you just swing failure pattern, never closed below, never invalidated it fully. So just getting rid of this. Let's take a look. The point control is heavily skewed to the downside, so I would like to see more upside continuation of this coin. This coin does look like it actually has some more upside, especially if it's holding up so well. Let's look at the small time frames. Let's just check out that huge wick. So this actually kind of looks like Ant, we were just looking at, where we had this market structure break on the 1 hour time frame. We pulled back. We actually broke that low. Bang. So we didn't pull back exactly where we expect. This seems to be a bit more of an erratic coin. I just did all that work in one candle. 28% coin, 1 hour candle. And right now we're just retesting this as support and resistance. I would just be wary of this chop. You might be just setting up for a bit of a trap here. Maybe not even a trap. I would just consider this to be like a really small macro range. Let's just see how we can trade this range. Any levels are actually being respected or not. So the value area high is fairly close to this market structure, to this support and resistance line, let's just call it. But we have closed below it. And are we building anything on really small time frames? No. So To me, this just looks like you're probably going to chop around for a bit while. If you close above this value area high, then obviously you're going to come and take this, fill this wick with all this low volume up here. We can just take this to be like, low volume node, right? Fill this low volume node up here. Or really what I'm looking for is just to come down and fill this and just retest this point of control. Let's just see if there's any other indicator, even on smaller time frames. Maybe you might have a bit of a skew or something, just to give us a hint of where price is going to break. And you do have a skew of this point of control to the downside. It is a bit of a new range. I don't think we've even been in it maybe like a day. Yeah, about a day, 9 hours. So closing above this point of control, you retest this value area high. I think there is good confidence that you're probably going to break out of this rather than break down. And there just seems to be more work to do to the upside than there's the downside. You are very chopped around coming to the upside, but just be wary that moves of these types of natures usually, right, are pure liquidity grabs. And right, this was obviously pure liquidity grab. They just came right back down. Just a slow grind up isn't necessarily what you want to see for continuation to the upside. You're probably going to fill this follow volume node by just I think you're going to want at least one other major pullback, maybe something just along these lines before any major continuation. Cool. I'll do one more, and by then it'd be 1:30, so more people should show up because everyone just shows up at 1:30. Okay, let's look at CHZ. So I think this was actually a 4-hour level we marked out. Yeah, 4-hour level I had marked out yesterday. This was going to be actually your market structure line, right? Break below this line, you're going to be heading right to here is what I would expect. Fill this right here and retest this 0.5 Fibonacci level at roughly 20 cents, we'll just say. But right now we're just going to come back and retest it. On the 1 hour time frame, right, we did actually, I would consider break market structure, right? We broke market structure right here. Broke below it where you expect to pull back the less significant move up, which would be right here. That's exactly what we pulled back into roughly, right? Yeah. And we have continuation downside. So if we get a 4-hour closure below this level, I think there's good potentially going to come down. You could probably even do a 1 hour closer just because these levels are so close to each other and it's such a volatile coin. So just be wary that 1 hour closure below 21.56 is probably going to bring you all the way down to at least 26.15. Let's take a look at another coin. What else moved heavily to the downside? Let's just look at what did well. Looks. Oh boy. Actually not too bad. Looks had this V-shaped recovery right here. We could treat this as our range, right? It's a bit of a weird range, but it does seem to be respecting at least this value area low, which is nice to see. So we have support, resistance, flip to resistance. So right now we're just going to be heading to the downside. I would pretty much expect this thing to be a free fall. You're probably going to stop at the 618, but this doesn't look too strong, quite honestly. I mean, you already blasted through, actually. So you have the 76 at 23.4. So you might get a bounce off there. You do have a daily support and resistance level as well, but I would just take that with a little bit of a grain of salt. You actually, you didn't even retest it just yet. So macro-wise, this kind of just looks like it's most likely going to free fall to the downside. Maybe get a slight bounce off the 786, but not looking too good. 1 hour time frame. You were within this range. You broke below it. So let's just mark this level out. Oh, I like that. I want the right. There you go. So this is what I would consider to be a fair value gap right here. So closing above this 25 3 cents, I would see you coming back to fill this fair value gap before continuation downside, but I don't think it has much strength to close above this. Any divergences forming? No, not much of significance there. So yeah. Alright. Well, if no one's going to comment their coins, I guess I will say my farewells. There's a link in the description below for our Discord. It's got a good free trade. It's all free. A lot of good traders in there. Come and talk. A lot of people who become more active, which is great to see. Also, if you trade on Bybit, which is a crypto leverage trading platform, I think it's one of the best. It doesn't lock you out. Doesn't go down ever, things of that nature. There's a link in the description below for 30% off all your fees. Help support the channel and also save some money while you're trading, because those fees can definitely add up over time, especially if you're using some size on those trades. So hope you all have a great rest of your day. Thank you for watching. Bye guys.